Quick talk on water changes. Someone wanted to know how I do my water changes. I picked up overtime last night. Got out of there at about 3:30 this morning. It's 7 o'clock, so I have not slept yet, but it's water change day, so I needed to get started. I either start or end with this tank because the water heater needs to recharge afterwards. So this is my clip-on filling device, we'll call, and that's how I go from tank to tank filling it. But most of my tanks have their own separate water change emptier that goes into the water. So this one is set up with a sump pump, and that runs up out the wall of my lower level. I have a walkout basement, so that runs out there, so I don't have to run a hose all the way from the end of the house down. This, if I tried to drain this with a regular siphon, it would be draining almost all day. Plus it's on the ground, so it never drains fully then. So I was having to run a sump pump hose all the way through the lower level, and that was getting to be a pain in the butt tripping over that. So now it runs right up out my ceiling here in the lower level, out and down a hill. So I can drain this thing in 10 minutes and then start it filling, and I can walk away because I have this lovely little thing from Amazon. It's a water monitor, so that will tell me when my tank gets full. So I can leave a link of that. It's just called the Watchdog Water Alarm, and I can do that for all of my fish tanks as I'm filling them, so I don't overflow, because it'll really save your marriage. Because a couple months back, before I got this, had a flood of 120 gallons in our front room from this, and we lost all our brand new carpeting, $1,000 of brand new carpeting. So this is a lifesaver and will save you a lot of money if you have multiple tanks. So this is the start of my long day of long day of water changes ahead. What I do before I start my full water change day is empty my shop vac, just in case I do have any oopses, because you don't want to be running for your shop vac and it's full, and clear your walkway. So gonna do that. My walkway is clear, and I start with a clean garbage, an empty shop vac, and a fresh batch of dilute bleach water, because I bleach all my nets, my scrubbers, and my siphons between use and after use, because there's some that I do use on more than one tank, such as my pond pump one that I use for all of the goldfish tanks on the sidewall. So I dip them for a little bit in bleach, or my water changer, if it falls in the water, dip that in bleach to keep things sterile. So I start off with clean garbage, clean shop vac, fresh bleach water, and then I go around and I shut off all my heaters. So that is this whole rack for heaters, and then this is my canister for this, and the heaters for the puffers, and the 125. I already unplugged the babies. So I go through and I unplug all my heaters so I don't forget and zap myself, basically. So once that's done, then I move on to placing more than one drain. Multiple tanks to drain, and they're going to fill at different rates and drain at different rates. I start draining multiple ones, so I have my hose I use specifically for the 150 here, started draining on that. My pond pump started draining on the koi, and then I make sure I have my pop with a little bit of caffeine, a snack, and in case I get really thirsty, some ice water, because water change day is hard work. Well, already watched that one. Nope, hasn't posted a new one. Let's see. Woo! New video posted 1 hour ago. Well, I'm gonna watch this and finish draining those tanks, and then I'll move on to the next ones. Hard work. I never binge watch. Oh, hello, kitty. Yeah. That's why you never binge watch all your YouTube videos, because you need something to watch on water change day. As you can see, this tank drained before this one even got close to it. So this one is just going to keep slowly draining. I've started filling this one with, you know, the cooler water for the goldfish. And then in the meantime, the ones that I do sit and monitor are my shrimp / baby guppy tanks. So I will sit and hand siphon these carefully, make sure I don't suck anybody up. I do use, oh, here it is. I use the powdered Safe Prime on the goldfish tanks and the bigger tropical tanks, but my guppy, baby guppy shrimp tanks, I use the liquid because I think that the AquaSafe, I think it works quicker than the powder. Even by smell, I can tell that the chlorine smell dissipates a lot faster with this, and so since shrimp are a lot more delicate, I use this on my shrimp and baby guppies, and then the Prime Safe powder on the goldfish and the bigger tanks. So we're going to start siphoning these ones down, and then we will fill these ones back up. Still draining. This tank drained and almost filled. So now I've started the pump that I use for the 75s, the double stack 75s, the 125s, and the 180. So that's all on the same pond pump here. So I'm going to start that one going, and just move down the line draining those. I'm still working on this one, which what I'm going to do is I shut the water off on the 250, let the hot water regen while I finish draining these ones, and then I'll fill these ones with the warm water necessary, because all the ones after that are pretty much cold water until I do the section here, which will be later. My step stool and my algae scrubber comes in handy. I don't really do the sides. I will do the front of my tanks and make sure that they're clean, and then and the ones I don't have a substrate in yet, working on that, I kick the gunk towards the pump, and then like once a month I squeeze these out really good in the tank. I'll squeeze them out good while I'm doing the water change. But I just kind of kick the gunk towards the pump. Just to try and get it as clean as possible. One of the things with sponge filters is you just got to live with the fact that it'll never be perfectly clear. So, but I run my whole system on one pump pretty much, so knock the gunk off. And like I said, I only once a month give them a really good squeeze out. And that's kind of the inside maintenance I do on my tanks. The thing I keep on hand is a mist bottle for when I'm doing water changes, just in case I overdrain a little or it's taking a little bit of time. I can keep my plants moist and keep them from drying out. So, just finishing up draining that one, have that one to drain, and then I'll fill all these and move on. After these tanks, I'll remove any duckweed if it's gotten to be too much, replace almond leaves, and then I'll put a chunk of the gummy shrimp food in there. Just so they get fed good today. They're already all coming in for the feast. And then it's time for a snack. Okay. Nope. Still hasn't posted. Water change day is hard work. Start with a nice clean shop vac. Whoopsie! These tanks are almost filled, and once they're done, I'll make sure the heater's turned on. I'll add a half a cap full of my Flourish. I've not had an issue with my shrimp, so I add a half a cap full of that to the tanks. Make sure my heaters are on. And then start filling my cold water tank. So I'll just go down the line. Not the babies, they're on a completely separate thing right now. But the 125s back there and all the 75s, I'll just boom, 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 empty and fill. And that'll take the better part of probably 2-3 hours. The 20s are filled. The 250's filled. I'm starting to fill the 150. You know, this is going to take a while. Shoot, I put it on the wrong side here. I like to not disturb my sand. Well, apparently I'm going to disturb it either way. So, this is going to take a while to fill. You know, I try and put my siphons away as I'm done. And then I can do some more work in the fish room. But first, still didn't post. Oh, a new one from Simply Beta 23 minutes ago. It is my lucky day.
Hey guys, Simply Beta here. I'm wearing my favorite shirt today. I wear this in like all my videos. Today's video is another part of the fish room project. That's where I'm
I need to beautify my
ugly,
fish room this summer.
clean, my kind of just blah-looking tanks. And I'm trying to make them
I'll get some work in later.
one of my big goals for this year.
It's about 12:30 now. Perfect time for me to utilize my water alarm. And I can go upstairs and make some lunch. Oh, now that I can use my water alarm, because I'm filling the bigger tanks with colder water, I can eat some lunch and do some of my moderating duties on the Goldfish Keepers Forum I help cover, and help with diagnosing still hasn't posted. Okay. So then I can go to so this is somebody who just posted a tank, and we have to moderate this kind of stuff because they have single tails, multiple single tails, and a little tiny tank. And we advise nicely, but you have people that will advise rudely and bash people, and then people just leave and they don't get a chance to learn anything. So gonna have to keep an eye on that. And yep. So I'll do this while I'm waiting for my alarms to buzz, check all of the forums, check the pages, make sure people are being polite.